Do you know what's really for sale with your business? Really for sale. And I don't mean your products or services. I don't mean your people or your process. I don't mean you. It's something else. In this video, we're going to address one of the most important insights needed to create a competitive advantage, to create a transformational brand, and to truly, sincerely differentiate you from everybody else. Hey there, I'm Jon LoDuca. I'm the founder of Playbook Builder. I talk a lot about wisdom as a corporate asset and how to exploit it both for systems and processes on the inside of your business and also for packaging, messaging, brand building outside the walls of your organization, getting the message outside. And so today we're going to be talking about what's for sale. So the landscape for small business right now has never been more competitive. And if you want to challenge me on this idea and tell me it's always been difficult, that's perfectly fine. I'll go toe to toe with just about anybody on this one. Political polarization, cultural changes, demographic shifts, real artificial intelligence. And if you don't know why that's a big deal, I can't help you. Like, you need to be looking into that stuff. The people that are hand waving about AI are typically the least informed. So pay close attention to what's going on in that arena, because this stuff is having structural impact on the economy and it's dramatically changing the pace that we are working at as human beings. The competitive nature of this is raising the stakes on how you need to perform. One thing that has not changed, is absolutely staying the same, and has forever, I think, is that clarity creates confidence. If you are clear, you can create confidence. And I don't just mean for you, although you are the first sale. As I said in the last video, there are 5 sales you have to make, and the first one's between your ears. You, of all people, have to be abundantly clear about what you're doing, who you do it for, what you bring to the market that's valuable. Like, that's on you. But that kind of clarity also creates confidence in others. It creates confidence in your team. They can execute, they can activate, and they can align and galvanize around your mission. It's also true that kind of clarity matters for your prospects. For the people you want to reach and bring into your business as clients or customers, they get confidence because they can be clear. And that's a messaging problem. That's your internal alignment transforming into messaging that's snappy, direct, and clear. That can bring those people to the table. And in a messy, noisy world with lots of confusion and lots of distractions, that clarity is a weapon. Ambiguity, that's your enemy. So a long time ago, I ran something called an innovation lab. I owned an intellectual capital development firm, and I would have clients come from all over the world, spend a day, one at a time, in this lab. It was like a strategic planning day. It was a $20,000, what are you doing for whom and why kind of day. And a lot of what I'm going to be talking about today and in this video derived out of insights gleaned sitting across the table from top 1% income earners with 30 years experience who were stuck, had hit a ceiling of complexity and couldn't break through it because, like it happens to all of us, you can't read the label when you're inside the jar. You've heard that before. That's a great expression, and it's absolutely true. We just lose context. I couldn't do an innovation lab for myself. I've done 600 of them, but I still can't see myself objectively. So that was my opportunity and my responsibility, and I loved it. It was a real honor to be the person trusted with that. And so I would pull this type of clarity out of these entrepreneurs, and we'd get down to these first principles. Number one is, what are we doing for clients? What are we really selling? That kind of a clarity can create a ripple effect throughout the organization. It'll impact your messaging, it'll impact your systems, your pricing, your unique experience design. That little bit of clarity is sort of like the nucleus of an entire change inside your world. And so getting right down to that single question, what's really for sale, is the foundation for everything in your business. We're going to talk about it right now. Okay, so here it is in a nutshell. What's for sale in your business isn't your products or services, it's not your people, it's actually the transformation you create for them. When you find clients or customers, they're at a state A. That is traditionally a place of frustration, unmet needs, some sort of a gap. And what they're buying from you isn't your product or your service because they don't actually care. They care about a state B. That is what's for sale. They want that enough to pay the price, either with their time, their money, or both. They're willing to surrender and exchange value because state B, whatever that is, confidence, clarity, speed, they want to be skinny because they feel overweight. They want to be smart because they don't feel educated. They want to have an opportunity because they have one. They want to be able to gain something that is worth exchanging value for. So you understanding what that is uniquely in your exchange, in your business, and for whom is your single most important responsibility. Being unaware of the transformation from state A to state B, underrepresenting it, misunderstanding it, and not understanding it fundamentally, like right down to its smallest detail, leaves you with ambiguity, leaves you with generality, and leaves a lot of money on the table. And so that state A to state B transformation is in fact the most important awareness you can have. It's your most important clarifying insight. How most of us communicate in the marketplace is we talk about what we do to span the gap between state A and state B. And I'd argue from a messaging standpoint, nobody cares. They don't actually care. They care about you recognizing them and then you showing them the promised land of better. If you look at infomercials or pharmaceutical ads, they all adhere to a story structure that is, I was lost, broken, sad, whatever, and then I found this product and I am better off and I'm able to have capabilities I didn't have previously. State B is why we buy. We buy hedonically. We buy aspirationally. Since Edward Bernays in the 1920s, we buy towards certain gain. It turns out we don't like buying away from uncertain loss. We like buying towards certain gain, and we'll write checks for it all the time if our confidence is high that we'll achieve it. And that's on you to create that awareness. Most of what creates the confidence that state B is achievable is empathy. That's state A. Do you know me well enough for me to trust you? Can you communicate my problem clearly enough that I believe that you understand me? And then can you show me with real evidence what state B looks like, feels like, and what it's like to be inside of that clarity? Can you show it to me? If you can do that, your sale just got a lot easier. And whatever you do, however you get there, becomes less important to your prospect. How much you charge becomes less important to them. If they really want this and you tap into something fundamental for them, it's easier to sell it. Most of us, like I said, however, we talk so much about what we do, and isn't it so funny? They don't really care. I don't really care what you do. You don't care what I do. You care what you get. That is the selfish aspect of capitalism, but it works because we all are somewhat self-interested. So if you could just speak prospect instead of pitching your thing all the time, you'll find you can get into conversations and make connections faster. When I said what's for sale isn't what you do, it's what they get. It's a transformation you create from state A to state B. So let's break this down. State A is the frustration, the gap, the lack. It's the place that they're in right now, and that's why they're considering your services, your product offering, your thing. That's because an unmet need is weighing on them. If you don't really understand what that is, you're just kind of swatting at shadows. You really need to fundamentally understand what that is and how it feels to be them and what it means not to have it. If you don't understand those things, you need to talk to people who buy. You need to understand what they're seeking. And you could say, well, I don't sell anything that important. I sell, toothbrushes or something like that. But you do see these ads and these commercials and you do see the branding, and they are addressing a subset of the market with the features that they showcase. So what are they showcasing that for? Because some people are interested in a soft toothbrush because their gums bleed. Some people are looking for a toothbrush that meets a different need. So you really can bifurcate, slice and dice the marketplace into people that have wants that align with you, unless you don't know what those are. So spend some time defining your ideal client. In particular, what's the situation for them before their needs are met by you? What is keeping them up at night? What is the gap and the lack? What does that mean to them? And what can they not achieve because it's been unmet? You really need to understand that. Clarity comes from understanding the heart and the head of your prospect. Then state B, it's not just the inverse. It could be that there are things inside of achieving this that are surprises, that are greater even than you seeing the opposite of this. What is true for them when they get through your process? They buy your product. They consume your services. How does it affect their head? How does it affect their heart? How does it affect their pocketbook? How does it affect their self-esteem? What are some of the capabilities that are now true for them because they've achieved through you? What is that? What does it look like, feel like, taste like? What does it actually do for their lives? We buy for very personal reasons. If you don't know, it's a huge liability, but if you do, it's an absolute game changer. And I mean it legitimately. You might even change your product because you understand this. Wow, the people that buy from us are looking for this. We really need to do our services different. We need to charge differently. We need to add this extra service. We need to add this new feature. If we're really transforming people from here to here, you get sudden insights, creative bursts, real clarity, because now you understand the stakes. This is really why they buy. And I, because I'm a capitalist, I want to meet the market where they are, and I want to give them what they deeply want. If they're really frustrated over here, I not only want to meet them, I'm going to exceed that and outcompete everybody else because I understand my prospect. I understand their needs better. That's where all of those innovative, creative ideas originate from, not just from you. They live in empathy, in really having a heart for the customer, in really caring about them in an intimate way. What is really, really at stake? How can I create something transformational for them? Once you know this, boy, does it get amazing for you. Have you ever seen an infomercial? ShamWow or the Ginsu knife thing? How do they do those commercials, right? The same structure every time. First thing they do is they hook you with state A. What does that look like? This person's trying to cut a tomato and it's just frustrating, right? You've seen that before. They're just like, it's all over dramatic, but it's basically trying to show you, hey, do you recognize yourself in this person's frustration? Because if you do, you're trying to turn the hose on and it sprays everywhere, or whatever it is that they're trying to demonstrate. The first job of that commercial is to hook you. Pharmaceutical ads. Are you dealing with eczema and you feel uncomfortable going to the beach? Whatever it might be. Are you trying to go out with your grandkids, but your IBS is ruining your time with them? Like, they show you the problem. They show you what it's like to signal, hey, do you identify with this? And they bring you into the inner life just enough to let you know that they get it, that they empathize, they understand. Then they talk about the product, but only a little, and then they show you state B. They show you the life of this person better off, cutting the hell out of tomatoes, or playing with the grandkids and having a worry-free volleyball game on the beach, or whatever it is. And it's sort of laughable unless you're the person going, oh my gosh, that's me. And gosh, that really is what I want. For everybody else, it's like click, I don't care. Like, I can cut tomatoes. But if you just were in the kitchen going, what the heck? You actually watch that and go, yeah, actually, I relate to that. So a lot of this is timing and recency effect, but a fair amount of it comes down to the fundamental, which is, do you identify with that problem? If you self-identify with the problem, they've caught you. You're now entrained. You're watching the commercial with the ShamWow guy demonstrating how he does it. And you're going, wow, that would be amazing. That's incredible. Do you care how they make it? The features. Do you even care about the pricing? At this point, you don't. You see the problem so clearly. You're captured by state B and the possibilities that you could clean your kitchen faster and better, cut the hell out of tomatoes, go to the beach. You want that so badly that when they explain to you how it all works, you're like, yeah, that's just checking the boxes for my confidence. It's giving me a little information, but you had me at hello. You understood me and you showed me a state B I wanted. That's the soul of this. So last video, I talked about the 5 sales. I said there are 5. Between your ears is the first sale. Kitchen table, that's your team. The backyard, that's your database. The neighborhood, those are your centers of influence. And then the biggest play, which is the world. That's pure marketing, that's getting out to strangers. And I said, in order for you to be effective, the very first sale is the most important one, because without that kind of clarity, everything else you do is going to be muddled and confused. You're just not going to be resonating. You, of all people, need to know who you are, what you do, and for whom, and why, and have that clarity nailed down. Well, this is that first sale. If you can understand state A and state B, that transformation, that is the sacred, that is the central value proposition of your business. I transfer from here to here for people. This is what is for sale. The rest gets a lot easier. When your messaging and your marketing and your target audience, your ICP, your product mix, your pricing, who you hire, all of that starts to align because you understand the fundamental relationship, which is value creation. Capitalism's foundational premise is I create value for you, you write me a check, an exchange of value. Well, you've got to get clarity in order to be able to do that. But once you do, it galvanizes and energizes everything. Confidence comes from clarity. Thanks for watching. I'm Jon LoDuca. I talk about wisdom, and it's my jam to share these ideas with you. 25 years of working with the top 1%. I absolutely love that I can share these ideas and help you and your business, your team have better clarity, a competitive advantage, and really activate and utilize the wisdom in your organization as a tool, as a way to really create an amazing business, a great lifestyle for you, opportunities for others, and real impact in the marketplace. So thanks for watching. I love that I get a chance to share with you. Do me a favor, it's just a little click, but would you please follow and like the video? It does drive the algorithm. It does help us. And I'd love your comments. I'd love to hear from you. What do you think? What are your ideas? We like to incorporate those into the videos. So thanks. Bye.